Hello and welcome to a Kooky corner of YouTube, where today we're going to take things down a notch. We're going to have some relaxing, just chilling out, not worrying about the outcome kind of a vibe going on. And so to that end, one of the ways I like to relax or just take it down, or if I'm not sure of what I want to do, then this is something I can do. I don't know if you've heard of morning pages. There's a Julia Cameron book brought out, the Artist's Way book, and it was literally a morning page thing where you've got a book or a side of paper or a couple of sides of A4 paper, and you write down everything that's going on in your brain. First thing in the morning, just write it down. It's like a word dump on paper, and that is a way of kind of freeing up your brain so that it can do other things. In a similar way, this can act as a kind of a not a dump, but kind of like an outpouring of just something. You're just making it. It's intuitive. You don't think about it or plan it, and it's something you can do. Like when you sit down at your desk and you've got, no ideas popping in. This is something that you can do to kind of free up your mind, and at the end of it, you'll end up with something pretty, and you can keep these as cards to keep you. To make you happy when you look at them, or you could give them away as like little ATCs. I don't know if you remember those way back in the day. They're kind of business cards sized, so it's something that you could actually put on the front of a greetings card, to send to friends and things. If you wanted to share some love, share some of the love. So that's something that you could do with that. So although it's a small thing, there are a few things that you're going to need. So the main thing that you're going to need is some form of a base. Now my base are these, which are the little cardy papers. They're kind of like handmade paper with like a decal edge, which is something that I really like and appreciate. And they do these in bigger size sheets as well that you can actually rip down to make your own of, or you can just use whatever you like, any watercolor paper. If you've got some watercolor paper, that would work equally as well. The thing I will say is it needs to have some kind of a substance to it. The reason being is when we get to the stitching part, you want something that's not going to tear when you are stitching into it, because these will take quite a bit of hammer, as would watercolor paper as well. So you could stitch into watercolor paper, but these I know work really well because they've taken everything that I've thrown at them basically. So there's 3 stages. So I'll just pop those to one side for a second, just over there. So you start off with your base, decide which side you want to do your first level or layer on. So the first layer is either watercolor or some kind of a watery, inky base. These Kohinoor paints are the Kohinoor Brilliant Analinky, and I do believe they're dye-based. But these are what I took away with me. This is something that I kind of did when I was away on holiday, and it's a great thing that you can just take away and do whenever you want to do it. So we've got all of those paints in there, and I think there's 4 levels to this one. You can get ones with 8 levels. I had got that one, but I thought it was just too much to take away, so I just settled myself on this one. You will need some water and a brush. You could either use a water brush or just have a cup of water and an actual brush, which is what I've got here. And these are the first level. The first level gets your watercolor base going on, and we're going to do that now together. So let me open up my paints, trying to decide which color one needs to go with. Let me go with some blues. I think I'm going to go with some blues. Now these the Analinky dyes, you can't always actually see what color you've got. until they get on the paper. I'm just giving them a quick spray. So we'll loosen them up a little bit. Grab my water jar. Put those over there a little bit so I'm not going to splash them with water. And I'm going to go in with this. I want to be fairly light with it. And you just intuitively popping down paint. You don't even have to think about where it's going. If you want to be really, really neat, you can cordon off the edges with a bit of washi tape. I am not neat. You probably got that already from me. And I'm just getting some of these blues and greens in. Just not even really thinking about where they're placed. I might even grab a bit of this yellow in, because I kind of like how that mixes with the greens. It gives you a different kind of a green as well. So it's really simple, really quick. And I think I'm going to go in with a little bit of this orange as well, just because I can. You see how quick that is? Literally minutes, and you have then got yourself a base to work on. I think in one of these, or did I have it in my other kit? I had like a gold, and I think I might slop a little bit of that in as well. I'm just getting to my little case. This is my case that I took away with me on holiday. And I think in here, sorry, knocking the camera, I have in the middle there, can you see that bit there? That's a bit of gold gouache. So I'm going to add some of that in as well. It's because I'm feeling extra today. Now you can do this with ordinary watercolors, as I said, or you can just have a watercolor pencils. That's a nice thing you can take away with you, that are easy to use. But this is just such a lovely thing to relax with. You don't have to think about it. You just have to enjoy it. Let me take you down a bit further. There we go. So when that dries, we'll get a nice little shine of glitz on that bit there. And that is as simple as it is for the starting layer. So we're just going to let that dry. While that's drying, I'll take you on to the next layer. So let me pop that over there. So the next layer of things that we put on here is some collage. So these are little bits of papers. I took a selection of papers away with me in a folder. It should be this one. It's just got some odds and ends of paper, even bits of material in there as well. I think one side's got material in it, one side's got paper in it. And you just want a few selections. You don't have to be too sort of precious about it, or just anything. Even bits of like junk mail you could do this with as well. So you can see I've just kind of lay out a few ideas on these ones. So let me just pop those over on one side, and it's a bit like if you ever saw the old program Blue Peter, where here's one I made earlier. Well, this is one that's ready for collage now because it's dry, and they don't take too long to dry either. So I'm just going to get some of my papers out. Got all kinds of bits here, and you can imagine how these are flying in the wind because I did work outside. I sat on a lounger doing a bit of of making. This is nice. This is kind of a handmade-y paper. I kind of like that. So I'm fancying it might go there. What are the colours I've got in here that I like? So these are some of my painted papers, previously painted up, and I always use them in bits of collage, but it's nice to have rippy edges. I like to rip an edge, and I'm going to pop that one in there. You could even do like landscapes. You could kind of pick things that you can see from where you're sitting or out of the window and just add them in. Try and rip them out of the papers. I don't particularly use scissors very much in my collage. I like to rip. Sometimes you do need a scissor intervention, as I call it. And you're just playing around, and it's a bit like when you're making your bracelet kits, or when you're making up the bracelets, the slow stitch bracelets. This is really just, I figured out that I like little bits that go together. This is my happy place. I just spotted a bit of gold on there that I really like on that piece of paper there. And we want that bit kind of lay it out. You don't need too many. You don't need too many bits. You just whatever you like. I'm not liking that dark actually. I'm going to take that one out. In the same way as when you're making a slow stitch piece, you're kind of looking at things that fit together. Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay, so simple as anything is just to grab yourself a glue stick, any kind of glue that you've got, but glue stick is always handy. And our first piece I'm going to stick down, making sure I've got glue on all the bits. Let's go in there. Actually, I'm going to rip a bit of that off. Kind of got an idea in my head. I want to take it kind of small. There we go. As you are making, you might see things that crop up and you think, ah, that's what you are. And this one, I think, has decided that it's a blue flower. So a blue flower it shall be. It's got a nice gold stem. Let's see if we can get that to lay on top of that bit there. Perfect. And now that's a leaf, obviously. Obviously it's a leaf. I can see it now. It's funny, isn't it? I presume everybody's done this, where you lie on the ground and look up at the clouds and you can see things in the clouds. I do that. Still do that. It's great to see if you can spot, if you're with someone who's also doing the same thing, see if you can find out where each other's thing is. Okay, so I've got some kind of a blue rose or tulip going on here, which is nice. Let's see if I need to add anything else in. I don't think I actually do. I quite like how it is. So that would be that bit completed. Again, another simple layer. So that's your collage layer completed. So I would then let that dry and I would then add in some stitching or some gel pen. So if we look at these, I've got both. I've got some gel pen and I've got some stitching. And you're just then going to add some details in when it's dry. So I'll be back in a minute when this is dry, because I could work on one of these which are already prepared, ready for stitching, but I'm kind of feeling this one. I'm into it now, so we'll do that one. Okay, so I've just dragged out a few ordinary ballpoint pens. These are ones I took away with me in a selection of colours. We've got a couple of gold and silver Uniball Signos, and I've got my trusty Signo Broad White, which always goes in everything I have. What else have I got here? I've got a couple of Derwent drawing pencils, one in smoke blue and one in ink blue. And yeah, these are just the Statler ballpoint pens. And these are just for mark making. So again, just intuitively adding some marks in. You'll notice that my marks look strangely like stitches, and I've found that in my work. And I've made the link, and it has become very clear to me that everything I do seems to come back to mark making and colour play. This is what I'm finding. So I'm just going to add some little dots and things into this background here. And because this flower suggested itself to me doesn't mean that everything you do has to be a thing. A lot of the things that I've done are quite abstract. They've got plant elements in them generally, because that's kind of where I go when I'm thinking. That one was kind of more figurative. I was looking out over the bay in the Caribbean, and there was a boat there, and there were some mountains background. Obviously the sun was blaring down because it was a Caribbean. But it doesn't have to be. It can be absolutely anything you want it to be. It is for you that you do these, and if you feel like you can give them away afterwards as a gift, then that's also a way to go, isn't it? So I'm going to have a look at this little inky blue drawing pencil and just add some details onto my flower, because that's what it's decided it wants to be. And who am I to argue? Other things you can add into these are some beads and sequins, and you know that that's the way I'm going. Okay, so just simply adding detail. You could even add some detail into the leaf if you wanted to. Use whatever you have. These could easily have come out of bits of paper, could easily have come out of a magazine or a catalogue, and you're just finding colours. It's one simple way to get collage fodder. Okay, so now we've got to the point where I think I can add some stitching in. So let's have a look back at these. So I've got little stitches going down there in gold to mirror the stitches that I drew in pen. We've got some French knots, and we've got some sequins and beads. So let's have a little look, see what we can do with this now. Okay, so I've threaded up my needle, and what am I going to do? I think I'm just going to add some little stitches in the middle of my flower here to go down this petal. And as I say, the cardi paper is really easy to stitch into. Just remember, don't pull too hard. You don't want to rip your paper, because it will be slightly weakened by the wetness of the glue or the paint if it's not fully dry. But as long as you know that, we're all good. So I'm just doing some simple back stitch on my flower, and I'm going to take it up just the other side there. Sometimes these little pieces, as you do them, can give you an idea for a bigger piece of artwork that you might want to make, or a quilt, or just anything. So this is why I say they are akin to the morning pages, morning artwork that will get your brain moving in an arty way. You can just literally put anything into these. I've found these on my workstation, and I'm just going to stitch them in as well because they. Oh, that one's flying. That one didn't want to go on. Clearly. I'm just going to stitch that sequin on there. And does that want to go? Yeah, let's put it there. The easiest way to do this is to slop this on afterwards. She said, as it falls all over. There we go. It is so relaxing. It's something you don't have to think about or plan. You just enjoy the making of. And it's small. It's not going to take up a lot of time. Look, see how pretty that's coming along there. What have I got here? I'm going to put that in my leaf, I think. Let's see if I can poke my needle through there and jab with my finger. That's not very relaxing, is it? I'm going to go through that hole and I'm going to line it up, she said. Go back through. I'm just going to fasten this up. You need to be fairly tight with your fastenings off on these. Otherwise your beads will go all floppy and you don't really want that. No one wants a floppy bead, do they? That's as far as we've got. Do I want to add anything else in? I've got my gel pens here, so I can just add in some more glitz, following the line of that glitter down there. So add some of that in, and let's have a look. A couple of French knots I think would go quite nicely. Got some of this pink on my needle. Let's move those out of the way. I'm going to stick a French knot down here. Wrapping it around 3 times. Taking it back down. And it's adding texture. 2, 3. Going back down. Holding it until it gets there and pulling it down. And because I don't like evens, I'm going to go with a 3. I have a real thing about symmetry and even numbers. That should mean something. I'm not sure what it means though. Oh yeah. Haha, I'm liking this already. Sometimes you'll like it and sometimes you won't like it. It's like everything. Artwork doesn't always go well. Even tiny weeny pieces. But with a tiny weeny piece, it doesn't really matter, does it? It doesn't really matter. So as I have my want to do, I'm going to add some stitch marks in. Because that's the way my brain goes. And a few up here. It's like over stitching. And then adding some more detail in with my white gel pen. I'm going to call that done. And that's it. you can have fun now with all your pieces, and I'm sure you're going to create some beautiful things, because it's just such an easy thing to do. And that's what I wanted for this this tutorial, just something a little bit more relaxed that we could just enjoy and get our teeth into. And so I've got 8 of these finished pieces now, and that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're going to enjoy doing some creating of your own. If you've enjoyed this video, you know the drill. I like to see your thumbs, so if you give me a thumbs up if you really enjoyed it, and if you like the content that we have here, or I have here, this is only me, then please consider subscribing and clicking that little bell, and the little bell will then tell you when I upload a new video. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you again very shortly with more of the same. Bye for now.